Hello, everyone. Oh, Brittany, you're so terrifying.
What did you say?
You're terrifying.
Yeah, very terrifying. I wish my ears would stay up, but it's a cheap costume I've had for, gosh, 4 years now at least. Actually, more than that. So it's gone through the wash enough that these are just kind of floppy.
Like most of us, like many of us, there's a little bit of burnout creeping in. You know, you're just tired. You just, you lost a step or two, but wiser, I think, probably. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our 4th annual IT Horror Fest. I'm Jonathan Scarecrow from Ninja One, Director of Community. Brittany is also a member of the community team. And we're very excited to be doing this once again. This event is one of our favorites, and we've just had so much fun with it the past few years. We've got some familiar guests that you're going to be seeing who have been suffered through, been forced to participate in this in the past and do all sorts of things like eat the world's spiciest lollipop, the toe of Satan, eat the spicy chip, all sorts of things. We're not going to do that to them this year. We're going to switch it up a little bit, but get active in the chat. Encourage us all on. We're going to have a good time here. We're going to revel and commiserate in the IT horrors that we all experience day in and day out. We're going to share tips for solving those horrors, and we're going to give away some prizes. And then we're going to wrap things up with a very cool interactive tabletop that our guests are going to definitely need everyone in the audience's help to finish, because we have a very diabolical scenario set up for them. So, all right, let's take this away. Brittany, you were active prior to Ninja. You've been in the IT space for a while doing community work. You were at Spiceworks, and we're still very active in the Spiceworks community. You put out a question to folks in advance of this webinar. And you ask them what keeps them up at night. Mm-hmm. And we saw their answers. There's a ton of good ones. And we collected a bunch. We narrowed it down to 10. I'm going to pull those up. We can go through them. And we can remind folks of what they're playing for, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So you've done this quite a few times with Spiceworks, and what's great about it is people are definitely not shy about responding in about what horrors they're facing.
Yes, yeah. That post blew up almost immediately, and I'm sure that we'll kind of get into it whenever you show the finalists. But to no one's surprise, users are probably the biggest source of fear in any IT pro's life. So yeah, definitely got a lot of traction there.
Yeah, I think just like when you go out for Halloween, you see the familiar costumes, you kind of know what you're going to see, but oh man, some people still dress them up with some very colorful commentary. So yeah, let's take a look at this. So first, here's what we're going to do, folks. So we got like over 100 submissions. You saw a few of them in our intro video. I'm going to share the deck that I made that collected all those. I think there's seriously 100 submissions, and they're all amazing. And I'm going to share that with you all so you can check it out afterwards. But we narrowed it down, which is tough to do, to 10. And we need your help here to help us select a grand prize winner who's going to go home with that Ghostbuster. They're going to be home. They're going to get delivered this awesome Ecto One Lego set. And then, Brittany, we're not going to let the others go empty-handed, right?
No, not at all. There's a really cool weighted blanket that I'm actually pretty jealous of. It's a little Ninja One branded weighted blanket, and then a really awesome mug too. So
yeah, and that mug is, as was pointed out in one of those comments, comes from the Lawrence Systems swag store, which is packed full of awesome stuff. Tom and Matt Fox, who is a good buddy of mine, who's joined forces there, putting out incredible stuff. Have a lot of cool plans for content and everything. So definitely check out the store. We'll drop a link in the chat for that too. All right. So help us. Let's show you the finalists, and we're going to show you how to. Oh, thank you for dropping that link. We're going to show you how to vote to see who is going to win the Lego set. Let's see here. All right, let me give you a link to a survey here. All right, so if you follow that survey, let me know if you have any troubles accessing it. But you should see some options here, and I'm going to go over so you can see. We've shortened up the names of them there. They're a little bit more colorful here. So yeah, Brittany, like you said, no surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. It's zombie users clicking on every single thing they possibly can.
I love this because there was this wasn't the only person who referred to them as zombie users. There was another one who was like, yep, always lacking and in search of brains. Yeah, the term zombie users came up multiple times. And then not just any users, another specific type, a specific subcategory of user came up, leadership.
Yeah. That also seems like a common theme too, is
yes.
I don't know what it is about leadership.
Well, it's not just like, hey, fix my problem. It's like, hey, I'm not going to give you the money to help fix other people's problems. That sort of thing. Ransomware, of course. Of course, this is one. And this was a comment. I mean, there's multiple people who commented how they've been through it before, which I'm sorry. No, that must have been an awful experience. And so definitely rightfully called out as a big boogeyman. Backup's just not working. Kind of related, right?
Yeah.
Senior leadership gets my vote. Oh yeah, here we go. The possibility of a hard drive just dying out of nowhere.
Yeah. And again, with the backups too, really important to have that, but still sucks to have to rely on that backup and everything. Printers is no more needs to be said, really.
Oh man, Bradley is calling dodged a ransomware attack in January during the first week of employment.
Oh wow.
Welcome aboard. I'm glad you dodged it. I'm glad it wasn't also your last week of employment. Oh yeah. Yeah, Dean is commenting on +1 for printers, fax machines. I also heard docking stations called out.
Docking stations. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I get that. I've had some issues with my own, so.
But yeah, printers. There's multiple comments of printers. I just like this one that just said the one word and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So legacy software is, I think, what I labeled this one in the poll. Or legacy systems. My apologies there. And yeah, not only legacy systems that are still kicking around, but one that's in production and no one dares touch.
Yeah.
So this is the other Chris Thomas, who is a regular here on our streams and in the Discord. I call this one out because it's line of business software, really. He touches on a few different things here, especially when you get out on the bottom. It's not only there is all these things. Like, I don't know why. Like, how does this happen? How do you have all these different versions of things? Although we are in marketing, we have our own marketing software.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely wanted to call this one out because I think this is this represents the natural disaster category. This is a specific one, lightning storms. Great if you're trying to bring Frankenstein monster to life. Not so great if it's frying all your equipment. Yeah, I think it can definitely extend. I mean, and recently, right? Like tons of people dealing with natural disaster stuff. And then the final list, anything going down or breaking 5 p.m. on a Friday.
It always seems to be on a Friday too. You got 0-day vulnerabilities almost always on a Friday.
Yep.
For some reason.
Yep, the way the universe works.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
That's true.
All right, so let's see here. Oh yeah, we got some votes coming in. Thank you, everybody. So again, if you want to vote, which you should, you're gonna choose which one of those 10 finalists wins the grand prize. And then we're going to be giving all the finalists those mugs and the weighted blanket and maybe something else, a little special thing. And also, like, if your submission wasn't on there, stick around. Don't get too sad. We are going to give away some surprise things throughout the fest here. So don't be too sad. We're going to still give some treats out and some tricks. All right. So yeah, let me get that link one more time for anyone who hasn't done it. And then we're going to meet our other guest who have been patiently waiting in the background here. All right. So Brittany, thank you so much for calling in there, for helping present that. Hoping you'll come back at the end and we can announce the winner.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. Catch you later. All right, guys. Without further ado, we have so many great guests here, and they did the right thing. They're showing up for you in costume. So first, I want to introduce our DM, Dean Trampolis, from Help.
Excuse me. Sorry, I was outside in the cold and
it happens. It totally happens. So Dean, you are going to be. Oh, you lost the hood. What happened? You were out there. You're cold.
Well, I took it off. I came in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got to show up that shirt. So for those who don't know, Dean, say a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dean, career service and ops manager. A lot of you might know me as Dr. Zoidberg on various platforms. And I currently work for just the most bestest tier 1 outsourced help desk company on the planet, Helped. And dramatic foreshadowing, that's relevant to today's scenario. And
we've been scheming.
Yeah.
We're going
to make all of our panelists miserable.
That's right. We got something truly devilish in store. Let's check out the other panelists we got. Oh, Tom Kachulianen. Yes.
I was like stretching.
Tom is wearing a great shirt. So Tom, a lot of the folks watching don't need an introduction, but let's give him one anyway. Tom Lawrence, you are the content creator extraordinaire now, working at CNWR. Yep. And you have your YouTube channel where you've documented and shared all sorts of things. You've definitely seen IT horrors, and they've been well documented. You've walked through them, and very much happy to have you here.
It's funny that I didn't see anyone mention, like the cabling nightmares. Those are at the top, because when you have like a rack that's dangling from the cables, you're like, I need to fix the thing in the middle, but everything's dangling from this. So that's a true nightmare for me. I've done a lot of infrastructure.
Yes, and so I do have at the end here, if we have time, there are some bonus things that in that video at the beginning, some entries. There's a cabling one that I'll share with you because it's great. All right. And here we have Adam. Wow, the Graybeard. That's your character's name, but Adam Walter, you're founder of Humanize IT and Master of the Force. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm dual wielding today. I've got the wand and I've got the saber. So whatever you throw at us, I'm prepared, Dean.
You got your range weapons and your melee, so you're covered.
Is the wand to direct your midichlorians? Is that canon?
I don't know if you can control midichlorians with a wand. That'd be an interesting crossover. I'm
gonna need you Harry Potter, Star Wars.
So Adam, you tell us a little bit about Humanize IT and your background too.
Yeah, we're Humanize IT. I came from 17 years as an old engineer. I did pretty much everything. I actually used to be a big spice head over at Spiceworks back in the glory days of 2007 to 2012. I was digital blacksmith. So anybody who remembers me over there, I was like a ghost pepper or something. I don't know what it was. But I traded in my hat to become a leader of a software company that helps MSPs run their QBRs and automatically do gap assessments for their clients to find projects.
Awesome. And you probably have seen Adam. He's been joining us on streams lately on awesome community contributor sharing his advice. Great to have you here, Adam. Look at this guy. He's a made man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We've got Kyle Spooner. Kyle is one of the founding members of MSP Geek. He somewhat recently, although it's been a little while now, joined Ninja One. Joined the dark side.
What do you think I'm a made man?
And now he's
They
untouchable.
made him a ninja.
Kyle, do you want to give a little bit of any more background that you think is relevant for this this webinar?
Cigar there. I forgot was there. I'm Kyle. I am heavily involved in the community. I am a product analyst at Ninja One, and I have no idea what's going on, what to do, or what is going to happen. So I think I've written my character probably the most accurate I've written one before.
Yeah, no spoilers yet. We're going to get into that in just a second, but I think you did the right thing too. And then last but not least, we have Ian Crago, another member of the Ninja team, who prior to joining Ninja was a Ninja customer and a sysadmin, worked at an MSP as well. Just all around great guy. Ian, thanks for joining. Oh, you're on mute. It had to happen to one.
I definitely wasn't on mute.
Any background you want to share, Ian?
I mean, I think you covered the important parts. Previously a customer, worked at an MSP for several years, doing the same type of stuff that, I mean, the type of stuff where I've seen a lot of these. I was reading the horror stories that people were posting, and I was like, yep, been there. Yep. I'm pretty sure Printers is going to win, though.
Ooh, well, don't rig it.
Not
Let's
rigging
see.
it.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to get that link again.
I've got AI bots rigging it, so it's fine.
Here we go.
Printers are notoriously evil.
That may come into play too. We'll see.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll
so
try.
speaking of Ian, saying you were mentioning that you could relate to some of those things. So everybody who submitted a what's your worst IT boogeyman, the thing that haunts you, thank you so much for doing that again. As I mentioned, we had almost 100 submissions. There were definitely some common themes there. Brittany stole my thunder a little bit. I was going to have you guys guess which one was the most popular one. She said it. Users, of course, right? Like even more than ransomware, which is kind of nuts. Although I guess a lot of the complaints were kind of tied together because the user mistakes led to ransomware in some of these complaints. But yeah, so a lot of complaints about users. No surprise, but I'm just interested in your thoughts here. Like, as much as like, you know, this is the story, right? We like to focus on technology. The human part is the icky part. Sometimes it's the more frustrating part. But
I
this
heard
is
a
it's also
phrase
the important
once.
part, right?
Yeah, I heard a phrase once that humans are like water. They flow in the easiest path. And that's kind of how I see it. Like they see an email, the easiest path is to do what it says because that's what they're used to doing. So they just click it. And then you have ransomware, and then printers are just the bane of all evil. So that one doesn't count ever.
How long ago did Office Space come out? Where we all cheered at that? We know it's scene I was talking about right away. Like all of us, like, yeah, we all wanted to do that. And like,
PC
how many
letter.
years ago is that? So it's ingrained in us. It's it's been a long part of our career.
I'd like to point out that the LaserJet 4s were the last great printer to ever hit the market. That was like 1996.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, but printers, like they haven't evolved. Like they've evolved to be more.
They've devolved. What are you talking about?
Well, like a leech. Like they just want to suck money away from an individual who owns the printer in parts, accessories, ink, obviously. Like that. And there's been no innovation, right?
Yeah, they don't even have time to become zombie devices on our network. They just have such a short shelf life. They're like, I'm trying to think of a horrible creature that just maybe like a xenomorph where it just kills everything around it and then it dies. And
my LaserJet 4 still works. I have one.
We like to be, we like to complain about these things, commiserate. We also like to try to give some practical advice. Is there any practical advice around printers to make some of these horror stories less horrible?
Easy.
Don't use them.
Well, I was going to say remove the users from the equation, because if users don't
EDMS.
exist, there's no printer that's needed. So
Sell people on
win-win.
the paperless office idea that I was promised in the 90s.
EDMS. It's great. So the EDMS is great in the corporate world where I came from. We had some fantastic EDMSs, but in the small business, it's just not viable.
Yeah.
I mean, we had entire divisions just around taking papers, marrying them together, and putting them in electronic format and burning them.
No redirected printing. Don't bring up the idea. Don't tell your users that's possible. Just push that down so it never comes up. Yep, sorry. No, you got to walk over to the copier with USB.
There you go.
I'm going to bring up two horror stories I wrote down while you guys were reading, because I really liked the management clicking on the wrong email is one of my horrors as a security guy. But the two that I had that were the most terrifying were the silent server room and the burning smell.
I love the burning smells.
Either of them, we all know what smell I'm talking about.
The magic smoke comes out.
Yeah.
My son came in the other day. He was playing with his scooter, and he's like, "Dad, I think something bad happened." And I walked into the garage and I smelled the smell. I'm like, you hooked up your scooter wrong. He's like, "Is there anything we can do? That thing's dead."
The magic smoke doesn't go back in.
No.
I smell that in my car sometimes, and I still haven't figured out what it is, and it terrifies me.
Yep. Every time you get a strange odor, it's like, what is burning? Rubber? Something's exploded. Yep.
I did work on a computer in Western Nebraska where the dust is really fine, and I have had a dust fire happen in a PC. The power supply caught on, sparked, and it looked like a jet out at the back of the computer. And as any good technician did, I screamed at the top of my lungs for about 20 seconds, and then I unplugged it.
Yep.
Do y'all remember G4 TV? Remember back when Leo Leopold had the show and they would have Kevin do his dark tips, and I watched one where they burned through a tower with thermite. That was the very first time I saw fire spew out of.
I've seen that on hard drives.
Yeah,
Thermite's amazing.
And terrifying.
Yeah.
And terrifying.
we should give our users thermite.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of do have it. So it just comes in the form of an email link.
I do
Nuke your entire network.
Virtual thermite. I think you figured out your next phishing campaign.
Oh man, I do like how for everything that's so digital, like the physical aspects of it, like the cabling you're bringing up, Tom, but like the actual fires and the actual like flooding damage and like electricity, like electrocuted those hazards. It's kind of nuts. Like people have crazy stories that they've shared. Going back to users though, so yeah, I mean, we'd love to get rid of them, but we're kind of supposed to serve them, I guess, and get your satisfaction scores and all that. I want to hear what you have to say, Kyle. While you're saying that, I do have a special mystery guest I want to pull up who specializes in dealing with people management, and wants to give some advice. But yeah, please go ahead with what I cut you off there.
Well, no, I was just going to say that we love the users, but we hate them at the same time. We hate their actions generally, but they can be educated. And
some can.
Most can.
Okay. You're more of an optimist. Which
I am absolutely probably more of an optimist. But it's always fun in my opinion. I enjoy watching people that spark when they actually get something like, hey, maybe I shouldn't click on this email that says filled with spelling errors and has random links to places.
And Kyle, I would have to reaffirm your water goes to the easiest place. If you make it easier for your users to choose the right thing, then you will win. As a security person who's done this a lot, if you can make it easier for them to make a wise choice, you'll get rid of those sticky notes. You'll get rid of those bad choices. Make the choice easy.
So what I just heard is 7 MFA type prompts to get into anything. Encrypt all of the emails, and they have to learn a second language to understand it. It's just making
definitely. You've got it 100%. It's if you look at an engineer, we will spend 10 hours building the perfect script to save us 5 minutes.
Vigo the Carpathian.
Whoa!
The sorrow of Moldavia, on the mountain of skulls, in the castle of pain, I sat on a throne of blood.
Whoa! Sorry to interrupt you there. I guess our special guest just like jumped right in there. Vigo, yeah. So we have Vigo the Carpathian, and I asked him to come on here to talk about managing users, right, Vigo?
Users, they are not to be feared. They are to be ruled with an iron fist. They should cower in fear before you. They should always submit a ticket, and they should treat every click of an email attachment as though it could be their last.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I mean, do you guys agree with this? Like, just tough stance?
Absolutely.
Iron fist.
Depends. Am I responsible for the cleanup? Because otherwise,
I think I just found my new cybersecurity trainer.
Oh wait, let's see. I think he had another thing he wanted to add.
Wait to them if they even think about bothering you before they try turning it off and back on again.
Whoa.
Do not entertain their countless trivial requests. Do not grant mercy to those who forget their VPN credentials. Tell them I am Vigo, and if you ask for one more password reset, I assure you that your suffering will be legendary. If they dare ignore your emails, send a final warning, or down before my mighty patch updates, or face the wrath of unspeakable pop-up notification for eternity. When they blame you for their own mistakes, remind them, I, Vigo, was a tyrant feared by all. On you couldn't even connect to the Wi-Fi. Tremble before your IT overlord, or perish beneath the weight of my endless ticket queue.
Wow. Vigo's pretty intense.
Is he starting an MSP?
I know
I had
that
lightning
guy.
eyes. Do you know how many users I would fry if I had lightning eyes?
So many.
I think he wants to talk about security for a second too.
Oh God.
When they click on suspicious links declared, you unleash the plague of malware, and only I, Vigo, can reverse your doom. At the price of your eternal soul. Tell anyone standing in the way of you enabling MFA that you shall condemn them into an eternity of suffering and sorrow. If they refuse to take your security recommendations seriously, promise that you will spot them, and everyone they hold dear with unholy abandon. Tell leaders that you grow tired of them insisting they require local admin access. The next time they try to log in, it will be from a bottomless pit of blood and despair.
Wow. I think that's enough advice, Vigo. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to let you go here in a second.
It was my pleasure, but you must know, by summoning me you have meddled with powers that you cannot possibly understand. The season of evil is nigh, and you have unwittingly committed to a 3-year auto-renewing contract. Farewell, for now.
No! Oh,
And now we're
man.
on band. Thanks, Jonathan.
Wow. Okay. So a lot going on there. Where do we go from here? Okay, but seriously, do we have any? Those are all the things I'm sure we'd want to say, right? Any Kyle, all of you guys, really, you've all had like firsthand experience with having to talk, meet users and management on their level and everything. Any advice, I guess, like one line advice for folks when those are things you want to say, but you have to try to remember that you're there to give them a good experience.
I've got a really good piece of advice when you're talking to people who don't have the same technological aspect. They don't really understand, right? AI is littered in everything at this point in time. It is very easy to tell that an AI wrote a message. So if you use ChatGPT to help make it more user-friendly, or if you use an AI platform, those aspects, you're losing the skill that you develop when you do talk to people. But never copy and paste. Always rewrite in your words, because it can be used as a great system, but don't copy and paste word for word.
I think that's great. Yeah, I mean, you do see that all the time, right? Of like it's a very common recommendation. Like utilize these tools to translate things from text speak, which I think it is. They are really useful, but you're totally right. You can't just rely on it to be perfect. You got to go back and review.
Still have to have the conversation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Ian, what about you? Like any run-ins that you had, like that you learned from in terms of how to talk with users, how to get them on your side?
It can be really difficult. I think something that I found going into the primary client that I covered at the MSP that I worked at and working there every day, the hiding in your office all the time makes you the typical IT guy that nobody knows. There's some value to that, right? People leave you alone. But I found that like actually showing my face outside of my office, as uncomfortable as that can be for some of us, made a significant difference. People got to know me, and I made an effort to like follow up on tickets. If I fixed something, I'd circle back with them in a couple of days or a week and just be like, hey, is that thing still working? 2 minutes of time, huge difference for them. And then when I would say something like, we need to enable MFA, and I know that it's extra work and I know that nobody likes it, but it's really, really important, my words had a little bit more weight because people are like, but we like Ian, like he takes good care of us. So clearly, he's trying to take good care of us. And I find that the difference that we had between some of our clients and me and the guy before me, the difference was how much you interact with the users. And obviously some of them are nigh insufferable, and that's difficult to build rapport with anyway. But make an effort to build rapport with the ones that you can.
Great advice. Adam, what about you? I mean, this is so much of what you guys focus on at Humanize, right?
The entire reason I founded my business. I mean, I'll give the best quick piece of advice. I'm going to go ahead and and this. Get out there, walk what I referred to as the gauntlet, right? You need your time in your office just to focus, but walk the gauntlet around the building, and every Friday bring donuts and sit with those donuts somewhere at a different division or at a different client, and don't necessarily force the conversation of tech, but just bring in, roles from the favorite donut shop and sit there and get to know the people, and just have a normal conversation. And you'll be surprised at what you find out. People will naturally start like asking you questions and proactively reaching out to you. But food is the key here. If you want to win over the users and you want to have an easier time, a little bit more forgiveness when bad things go bad, and a little bit more help on tickets, food. Bring them to them every Friday morning, and then walk the gauntlet once a day.
Great advice. Tom, what about you? Anything you want to add?
Back when I was an IT director, the reason I had a lot of success was just asking users things like, what's inefficient about your job? Like what's the repetitive task that you think I could solve with technology? Sometimes just asking people that. And this even goes if you're an IT business owner and ask your clients some of those things. Sometimes goes back years, because when I started in the 90s, I remember a guy just didn't understand summing. And I realized really quickly, summing in Excel was a big deal to him back in Excel 97, because he loved his calculator. And then he would fill in the numbers. And I was like, we could show you how to do this. And I mean, he would have a lot of data and numbers. But that guy became my friend. He was actually the VP of the company, which is even a whole different topic. But he was so happy. And I showed him, he goes, why didn't no one else tell me? I'm like, I don't know. The other guy never told me that. I'm like, maybe he's afraid to tell you that you shouldn't like do Excel on a little calculator. But just sit down and interact with the users. We're enthusiastic about technology. We like how it helps innovate things. They just want to come in and do whatever the task is. And usually their job is not always necessarily related to their hobby. It's like, I'm here to put numbers in a spreadsheet until I go home and do something else. But if you think about how you can make their day better, how you can make it a little more efficient so their job is less painful or less repetitious, you make a lot of friends that way.
Nice. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for that. We're going to circle back around and dig into some of these things a little bit more and get the audience to play in. But for now, I think it's high time we started the game. I can tell Dean is anxious. He's eager, ready to go. So let's introduce your characters, and I'll explain to you how this is going to work for the audience if they haven't seen us play backups and bandwidth before. All right, so let's pull up. Here we go. So, folks, backups and bandwidth is our take on tabletopping. This is inspired by Backdoors and Breaches from Black Hills Information Security, if you're familiar with that. It's a great card-based game that's designed to get security teams doing tabletops and also their clients around security incidents and response. We thought that was great, but why is everything so security focused? You know, same thing with capture the flag events too, right? Why can't we have things that are for more admin work? And so we decided, well, maybe this is a cool way we can encourage all the IT teams out there to take an afternoon, do some tabletopping, practice some scenarios, take note of what's, needs better documentation, what needs better processes, what things you think you know but you don't. Just practice scenarios and let's have some fun with it too. So that was our concept, and very happy to have these guys back to play a scenario again. We're actually going to be coming out with a book that's working with Adam and some others. We're going to be putting together a booklet that collects some scenarios that you all can use with your teams. And they're all tied. I mean, we have some fun with it, but they're all tied to real world stuff. The whole point is let's have some fun, but let's get some real learnings in it too. Okay, so with that, you've met the guests, but now you get to meet their characters. So Tom, your character, Tom Tuxworth Lawrence, has been through a backups and bandwidth experience, I think a few times now, and lived to tell the tale. Anything else you want to call out about your character, or just like this experience?
It's been a lot of fun, and I was just laughing because they're trying to read. I'm like, that's right. I am the defender of the SMB realms and the bard of cybersecurity, champion of open source, and devourer of spice. I wrote that a while ago, and it's funny every time I read it. Anyways, I love this idea of a theme tabletop. Like you said, it makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more than that. Going through and walking through scenarios is something people don't do enough of, and I love that this brings it to doing a live stream. We can bring the audience in here as well, and this has just been a lot of fun. It's why I'm always excited when you're like, "Do you want to be part of it?" I'm like, "Can you just like permanently put my name on this?" I mean, just yeah, I'm always down for it. This is a lot of fun, and I think it helps the community. I get feedback on it, and of course, people really like the shirts, and I love the shirts as well.
Well, I'll have to drop the link to the you can get the shirts actually through Tom's Swag Store too. All right, so Adam the Graybeard. So this is where clearly a fantasy, right? Like you yourself are not a Graybeard, right? Right?
Well, I've got gray in my beard, and I got it from the concept of I used to be an engineer. I was the engineer, like tier 3 corporate engineer. Then I got moved into management. And from management, I got moved into running my own business. And so there's all the things that I used to know. So like on our podcast, we have episodes called Problems We Don't Have Anymore and Things We Used to Know. And so I thought it'd be great. I will be the guy who was an NT4 admin. I'm guessing Tom Lawrence, the only one who gets that, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely was NT4.
Arcane knowledge that doesn't apply very well these days. I also will be running a quick little seminar on our LinkedIn after this on how to build these yourself. If you want to learn how to build them, I'm trying to work with Jonathan to build these so that we can give you some pre-built ones that you can bring into your office and run in just in an hour to kind of discover some loopholes with your clients and with your other teams. If you hop over to our page after this is done, I'll be doing a live cast on how to build these yourself.
Yeah, awesome, Adam. Thank you so much. And folks, if you want to be involved in this going forward, let us know. We're eager for stories, players, all
stories. I need stories, real stories.
All right, Mr. Spooner, this is your character, Rigwin. You know what? Oh, you're muted, my friend. What an amateur! Just like your character.
I'm saving people from my clicky board. Okay.
Clicky boards are the best ones.
I wrote this. I built this character specifically because I have no idea what's going on. I've played D&D before, but I haven't seen one of these, and I haven't played one of these. So I figured, why not make a character that's built experience stuff he's never experienced before. So I wrote this as a novice. He's a brand new to his area that he's in and what he's doing, and he's a very handsome mustachioed devil, and he's gonna be the linchpin of what makes this successful, because that's just what he does.
Wow, your one requirement when I was asking you what you wanted your character to look like was devilishly handsome. So
I mean, it looks just like Kyle.
It does.
Oh, right now it does kind of. Okay, and then Ian, you're back. This is not your first rodeo with backups and bandwidth. You're back.
I am, and I'm hopeful that this time the Tech Wizard will not have the same unfortunate luck that I did last time. For reference, in the last session, I may have only rolled 6 and below. So we're hoping that doesn't happen again. Fortunately, I think in every one of those instances, Tom was able to pull me out of the pit that I fell into.
We'll see if it happens again, my friends. Okay. So let me set the scene for you. Let's go ahead and dive in. So for folks at home, Dean and I are going to be co-DMs here. It's mostly going to be Dean. I'm just here to provide a little color commentary and whatnot. But I want to paint a little picture for you. So here's the scenario, players. You are a ragtag team of IT professionals, and in particular, you are members of the help desk for a company called Amazar. Amazar is a prosperous merchant guild of about 300 employees with a reputation for delivering anything, anywhere with preposterous haste. Amazar, where every item is a critical hit. That's their tagline. So you guys work for Amazar as part of the help desk team. There are other IT members in the org. And you have your boss, Steve, who reaches out to all of you and wants to get on a quick call. And I'm going to bring up, let's see if I can patch him in real quick. He's got something apparently pretty important to tell you. Let's see. Okay, here's Steve. So what Steve informs you is surprising to everyone. Amazar is having a return to office, a surprise return to office policy that's going to be kicked off immediately. And so he needs you guys to get your butts back to the office, get ready for all the users, all the employees to be coming back next week. You're going to have to be there as the help desk to support them in that transition. And it's happening now. Any questions for Steve at all? Is he going to be there? No,
Still
he's
there.
not. He is about the beach, as you've noticed. He is on the beach. Don't blame him though. HR made him take his paid time off, so he's not going to be there. He's wishing you luck with it. Oh, by the way, too, while everyone was doing hybrid and remote work and everything, there's quite a few infrastructure, network, various IT projects going on. He hasn't really heard from those guys in a while. And so, yeah, well, just good luck. You'll take care of it. It's fine. It'll be great. He'll see you the next week. Boop. All right. So that's kind of what you're set off for here. Let's skip forward in time to that first day back at the office. And let's describe a little bit about the building, the office, Amazar itself. I'm going to bring up a picture. I got a nice aerial view of it. Check this out. Amazar. Look at that beautiful campus. Can you blame them for wanting? I mean, the rent on that thing must be crazy. You can't blame them for wanting to get.
That looks like a lot of walking.
We're going to be getting so many steps in this week, guys.
I was about to say, like the cabling projects that are currently happening, I'm already having nightmares about. If I knew what cabling nightmares were.
So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Amazon, this facility. So as mentioned, there's about 300 employees here spread out throughout the facilities. We've got kind of a primary building there with your team's office, help desk. We got facilities and accounts payable on the first floor. The network team is kind of secluded on the second floor in a wing there. H&R and accounting on the second floor too. Sales, of course, they've stuck them way up on the third floor on the other side of the building. Dean, why don't you tell the team here as they go to find their office what they see?
Well, like most corporate IT teams, a lot of stuff happened, and well, no one really told you anything other than to show up. And one of the first surprises you found was they moved your office to what looks like a really sad, depressed, dark, cobweb-filled, dusty, dare I say, kind of spooky room that you think might have been where they used to keep people when we had people IVRs, because there's a bunch of ancient phones there, old fax machines, and just old crap, Rolodexes,
Yes.
things that a secretary would eat.
I'm in, guys. I'm in my bag.
I was about to say, there's no sunlight. I'm in.
Is there a PBX?
Well, there probably is, because there's old copper phones.
Yes.
Importantly, some things you notice when you're in that room, and I will also tell you kind of what you have on you and what your capabilities are. You notice there's a bunch of brand new shiny VoIP phones that were not there a few years ago when you were last in the office, and they look very nice. That's kind of exciting.
Kyle, those are all yours.
Yep. You see there are network drops for all of you to plug in your company issued laptops that you've brought with you back from home, but no other equipment for you. That stinks. You're gonna have to work off laptops. And well, the worst part is y'all are actual help desk, like true help desk in a corporate environment where there are different teams. So you're basically all level 1 or level 2. You don't have access to anything. You don't have admin perms to things. You don't have keys to get into things. You don't have cool tools. You work help desk tickets. So that's kind of interesting, considering that you've been the only other IT people you've seen in a building that should have multiple departments.
I'd like to. Can I assume that these RJ45 jacks are live and clean, or should I have Tom plug in first?
Well, before you have Tom plug in, it looks like, from what you can tell, and the first you heard about a networking cabling project was from Steve like 5 minutes ago. It looks like they're brand new wall plates. They're nice, Decora white. They're not all faded and old like everything else.
Can I search my email for the mass announcement of the cabling project, which has tiny bits of information but nothing concrete?
Well, you're going to need to roll for that.
Okay.
Oh wait, and before you do, hold on. I gotta. You caught me unaware. I gotta bring that up.
Oh, come on, Jonathan. Get on the ball here.
I know.
Jonathan rolled in that one.
A really low initiative here.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. Sorry, jeez.
In this room, is there like dust around this room while Jonathan's...
The entire room is covered in dust. It is obvious that other than what those appear to be network jacks that are new in the phones, literally a soul has not been in this room in probably decades. It feels haunted. It's probably haunted. It almost certainly is haunted.
Sweet.
Aha.
I've been in that room. There was a compact server in the corner.
Can I roll now? Am I allowed to roll?
Yes, you can roll.
Good job, bud.
Wow.
That's fantastic. 20. So you open your laptop to log into the email, and you realize you can't even log into your laptop, like at all. If you pull up your personal cell phone, which you also have corporate email on, you can access the email application, but it won't refresh at all.
I'm gonna look around this room.
I pass this information to everyone around me, guys. I don't have email.
Are there any servers? Are there any indications of equipment in this room that would be serving up email, or should we be assuming this is all in the cloud somewhere?
So
I'm gonna investigate the room more for more information.
Yeah, why don't you roll for perception then?
And I send this to everyone, right? Roll.
That's
Nope, not Vigo. Dang it. There we go.
All right, so you're able to see it's dark in this room. Like the fluorescent lights are flickering. Like you can feel the 60 hertz hum from those old ballasts. Like it's visceral. Looking around, you don't see any other obvious signs of any technology. It's clear this room is not a technology room. It was definitely repurposed at the last minute. You do notice two things though at that 11. You notice that there is a giant pile of what looked to be relatively brand new boxes of Morton salt, which is weird because why would we have boxes of salt? And you notice a crusty, faded, stepped on clipboard on the ground.
I grab a box of salt.
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
keep it with me
investigate
at
the
all
clipboard.
times. Are we clear? There is no parting Adam the Graybeard from the box of salt at this time. If it comes
This
between
is
me
how
and
you know
Tom's
he's
life,
played
it's the
D&D.
box of salt.
I would like to look quizzitively at Adam the Graybeard about salt and just kind of.
The clipboard, is there paper on it? Is there anything that I can investigate about it? I suspect probably not, but
So there is paper on it. It is obscured by some sort of material. Would you like to roll to see if you are able to decipher anything?
yeah, let's go ahead and let's do that.
I step back away just in case of eldritch
It
horrors.
explodes.
Eldritch horrors, I'm more worried
I step
about.
closer out of curiosity.
Fantastic. So while this is really quick, before I answer, while this is happening, the copper phones start ringing. So just keep that in the back of your head. The copper phones start ringing. So you take a look at that clipboard, and it is encrusted with, I mean, you're not an expert, but it looks like dried blood, which that's weird. It definitely was the remains of a checklist, and you could just barely make out the top of the checklist, which says starts with network and you assume maybe refresh. And a few boxes have been checked off, but a whole lot of them aren't. And everything's just stained with blood, and it looks like it's been sitting there for a little while. And those phones,
I pick up a
phones
phone.
are ringing. You
What
pick
do
up
you
the
phone?
phone.
You pick
Yeah.
up the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what you hear.
Hey, it's Brad from the 3rd floor. Listen, none of our people can log into Scalesforce. And those new phones they got us, none of them are working either. We can't do anything. It's the end of the quarter and we've got quotas to hit. Please get someone on this right away.
What kind of phones do they have? Do
well,
they have
hold on.
copper phones or white phones?
Well, you don't know this. I'm hearing it. You back up. Great.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm using telekinesis.
The first thing I
Metagaming.
ask is what his ticket number is. I've been
Hey,
trained
no,
well.
That's an appropriate question, right? Corporate help desk, reasonable expectations. So he's really pissed that you asked him that. He's a manager.
As expected.
And he says he can't log a ticket. And then he click.
Ticketing system's broke too, guys.
Well, we can't get an email, so we can't get into ticketing either. Huh.
Well, could Kyle not get in? I mean, go back to that. Could Kyle not get into email, or could Kyle not get into his laptop?
Couldn't get an email.
All of you have
Couldn't
laptops.
refresh
Anyone
email.
else? Anyone else want to try their laptops?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Why not?
All right. Why don't you roll? See if you can even log into your laptop. All right. So the laptop you have been using at home up until yesterday, you are able to log in, but you're pretty sure, just based on the logon experience, you logged in with cache credentials.
So domain controllers are probably down, or internet connection if we're using Azure.
What do you guys want to look at next? And while you're
Is there any link? Can we check the layer 2 here? Is there a link? Is he on Wi-Fi or is he connected to the network at all?
Ooh, interesting question. You want to roll for that? Remember, you're help desk. You're tier 1. So this is already dipping into your home user experience.
Boom.
Perfect. So you notice that the laptop, somebody's was wired into the wall. So the laptop wired into the wall absolutely has link. And then the rest of you, let's say, are on the Wi-Fi. You also have a link. There is Wi-Fi. It is connected to a network.
Is there internet on the other end of that? What like network though? Like, are we
Traceroute
getting an internet
4.2.2.2.
connection?
You don't seem to be able to do anything except hit the machine you are currently on. And you're not really sure how to read any of the reports you're getting from the command line when you try to refresh those commands that one of the level 2s had tried to teach you before you went home. But it seems weird. It seems like the laptop is like not really connected to a network, but it is connected to a network.
Can I
Anything else
turn
you wanna
on my hotspot?
You can. Your cell. Remember earlier, your cell phone seemed to have cell signal. You were able to get to the email app at least. Like,
Correct.
So you could turn on a hotspot if you want.
So we are all on Wi-Fi, and there's one laptop in the room hooked up to the hard line.
Yeah,
And
I'm
they're all
going
showing
to
the
the
same
hard
thing.
line. Whose laptop's on the hard line?
Probably me.
Do we know for certain though that was you?
You guys can decide.
We can't
who
just
you
run an
want to
IP config. We can't.
I say, yeah.
IF
Do an
config.
IP config and I do a trace route for my laptop and his laptop.
Okay. You want to roll for that?
I say that's some level 2 stuff right there.
It is.
Back in my day, we were just level. Oh crap!
You
We'll
guys
go
are
with
level
Kyle's
Hey,
hotspot.
Tom, you're gonna need to try this after me.
So you try to open up a command line and you get the prompt that you don't have administrative access to open a command line, and you're like, oh crap, that's right, I'm on the help desk. I can't do anything like that.
No PowerShell for you.
Nope.
What's PowerShell?
Is there, so just thinking from the framework of entry level user, level 1, you don't necessarily have access to more advanced tools at the moment. Anything else you want to check that might just be on a standard laptop? They're Windows laptops, so on a standard Windows laptop.
Open up Edge and see if I can get to Google.
You cannot get to Google.
Oh, womp womp.
Can we access the control panel?
You can try.
Okay. So I have to
While
roll
this
for
is
asking.
going on, a runner comes down from another department, and they're complaining. They ran all the way down here because they couldn't enter a ticket, they couldn't call you, they had no way to reach you. They've been down all morning. Their entire department is down. The department's starting to get revolting. And in this case, there's users who can't, they brought their laptops home, they can't connect to the docking station. And that guy's just standing there and wants to know, like, what do I tell these people?
I have a question.
And phones are still ringing.
I have a question because as a new person, Steve said no one's in the office, but we have to go to the office and prepare for people to come to the office. But it seems like there's a lot of people in the office. Did Steve lie?
Perhaps the schedule was miscommunicated and the entire company has reported back and is attempting to work right now.
Okay. Because the question I was going to get to was, are there users still working from home and are they affected? Like, is there a way for me to reach out to someone I may know?
What a fascinating question. Why don't you roll for that?
Okay.
You're going to need to roll high.
Could use that. Okay. Hopefully.
I'm getting a bad feeling here, guys.
Me too.
Not sure we work here anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
While Kyle's doing that, any of you want to say anything to the runner? Any of you want to do anything?
I like to ask the runner, when was the last time? What happened to the other IT guys? We're new here.
They have no idea. They showed up today to come back to work. They have no idea what's going on. Just nobody in their office can work. Nobody has any internet.
I throw some salt at him. What happens?
He looks at you very aggravated and is like, dude, what the heck? Is that salt? Okay. Who has salt? And you do the whole, the Dale Gribble thing where you're like, pocket salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking for ghosts.
All right, let's get a roll from Kyle.
I did. I rolled a 17.
Yeah, you rolled a 17. All right, that's good enough. So you only have your cell phone, and you had a buddy that you're pretty sure worked from another state. So you try texting him, and this is totally back channel IT. Ask him if he's able to log into anything. So you text him, he responds. He's like, yeah, I got no problem. I'm at home on my laptop, connected to the VPN. I'm able to log into stuff. I'm cooking with gas.
So I turn to everybody and be like, guys, I recommend we say there's an ISP failure, and we're working on resolving the issue, and we'll be up as soon as possible.
So let's say we go with that for a minute, just to sort of set the scene. How are you going to tell 300 people in a building where you have no ability to communicate with them from the office you're in, and it's only y'all?
Oh, super
Ooh,
easy.
I
There's a
got this
guy
one.
who's running right here. We'll just have him run around.
Yeah, we got the runner.
We are obviously still on the PBX system, so we're going to use the PBX system to do a voice announcement.
As you say that, the phone rings again.
Of course.
I answer.
Which one? Oh, one of the VoIP phones or one of the?
Yeah.
Just the copper phones.
Okay.
So it's only the copper phones that are working.
So then this brings me to another point, actually, Kyle. What if it's actually an ISP outage?
I'm just throwing. It could be like I'm just throwing something out there to get people to stop yelling at us, so that we can work to solve the
Well,
problem.
they're not going to stop
Can we
yelling.
plug in a VoIP phone into one of the RJ45s and see if it picks up a
You
lead?
absolutely can. You don't even need to roll for that. It immediately gets power over Ethernet. It boots its happy little self up just like it is supposed to, and then it is not able to find a provisioning server, and it just sits there waiting for provisioning instructions. It is effectively a brick.
That's why we use PBX.
So let's listen to this phone call too.
I'm on the phone.
While you're-
yeah, I
while
answered
you're,
the phone that was ringing.
doing
Joe
that.
from sales here. Can you
Yeah.
all do something about this outage like right away? People up here are getting restless and Brad's starting to go nuts. He's ranting about this being a sign of like darkness coming or something. It's way too intense and it's stressing people out.
Did she say she was HR?
Sales.
No, she's
Oh,
in sales.
And
well,
as
I would
as that
respond.
phone
Can I
hangs
respond to
up,
her?
That
Yeah.
was pretty one-sided. That was
Well, I was just going to say that you need to call HR. We're technical support, and then Pat. I would like to route her back to HR's default number. Like,
Well, it's funny. Just as you say that, as those words echo out of your mouth to an empty phone the user is already hung up from, another runner comes down from HR to tell you that Fred from HR has a USB stuck in his ear. And as you're getting over the hilarity of what an idiot everybody in the HR department is, another person runs screaming by in the hallway, screaming about the end times right by your office. Things are getting a little weird.
throw salt.
I would like to vote that Kyle goes out and talks to the people because he's the biggest people person here and actually goes and sees what's going on outside of our office.
I would like to take some of the salt and make a salt line in front of the door.
That's my salt.
Well, there's a bunch of boxes.
Yeah, there's a bunch of boxes.
I would like to sigh exasperatedly and being like, fine, I guess, and then talk to the runner to see if I can figure out how many people are in the building. Try to get some just basic information about how many people are there, what their symptoms are and whatnot.
So in the parts of the building that are populated and not taken apart for the refresh, the runner says, as far as he can tell, everybody's back in the office. And you can go wander off with him if you want to go to departments.
Sure. Is this the HR guy? Which guy am I with?
This is the very first guy that came down to say about the docking station that you made stand there, and so now their users are probably pretty pissed off that they sent down a runner who's been standing there.
I'm not worried about the users. They're always pissed off. So let's go. Let me walk with him.
Who hired this guy?
I'm thinking that. Like, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm thinking, that's my thought.
All right.
Kyle's got a promotion after this.
You're
I'm learning fast.
You're walking down a very decrepit, very spooky, very honestly, you do not remember the building looking this haunted. And as you're walking down this hallway with the runner, you notice a few things. Would you like to roll to see how many of those things you're able to properly notice?
Yes. I rolled a 3. Not going to notice anything.
So
I'm distracted by the angry users.
Yeah, a 3's not going to help you too much. So you notice there's a stack of what look like maybe stapled packets of paper, but you don't stop to read or look at them because you don't care about any of that. And otherwise, as you're going down that dark hallway to the stairwell with this runner, you walk by what looks like maybe an MFP that I don't know, it might be on, it might be doing something, but once again, you don't care, you're not paying attention, so you just kind of leave from there.
It doesn't matter right now. The guy's there's a docking station that needs to be plugged in.
So what about the rest of you? While Kyle is not noticing things and wandering off with one user when 300 can't work.
I'm gonna take my box of salt and go find some coffee.
You're gonna find some coffee.
I am.
All right. So here's the problem. The break room is moved. So as you wander out to where you thought the break room was, well, it's not there anymore. But what is still there is the break room copier. And that's an MFP, and that break room copier, it's making noise, like it's just constantly producing copies. Do you want to roll to investigate that, or are you all set with that?
I'll investigate that. Or some large print job from somebody in HR.
Probably. Or marketing.
Great roll. Perfect. Jonathan, do we happen to know what that MFP is spewing out?
Yeah, in fact, we do, Dean. Glad you asked. Let me pull that up, and you can check it out. Oh.
While we're pulling that up, Kyle ends up getting upstairs to where the users are, and the lights are certainly better up there. It feels way less haunted, but nobody, as far as you can tell, is really able to work. Users are basically saying they can't log into anything.
Okay. Can I do like basic things like plugging in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like on-prem basic troubleshooting things that a level 1 would generally know.
Yeah.
Just to see if there's any additional information I can gather.
Those IP addresses do not look healthy.
So that's what that MFP is saying to Adam right now on his quest to find coffee. And upstairs where Kyle is, he's able to go around and resolve a number of nonsense issues for a lot of users. You know, people who didn't seat their laptops in their docking stations, things not being plugged in. A lot of people are starting to feel slightly more comfortable. But the managers up there in all these departments, they are not. They are starting to get deranged. And you're just a level 1, but they're starting to kind of come across like they might be possessed. And no one can still log into anything.
Can I attempt?
I'm going to bring back that paper and show it to the rest of the team in the room and say this is a non-routable IP address and it has something to do with souls, and get their feedback.
As you're going back to the room, Adam, you're going to walk by that same stack of stapled packets that Kyle ignored because he's irresponsible and terrible. Do you want to take a look at them, or you not care about that?
Solving the ticket, sir.
There are no tickets.
Yes, I will look at the stapled packets and see if they match up to what I have in my hand. I've got the paper in my hand. I got my salt in the other hand. So I'm going to tuck the salt underneath. No, paper in here. I'm going to keep the salt in one hand.
So why don't you roll to see if you can decipher what's... It's pretty dark in the hallway.
Yeah. Night vision.
Perfect.
Or dark vision.
You see that these were return to work instruction packets that were supposed to be distributed to the entire company. And well, clearly they weren't, because there's a giant stack of them there. And particularly relevant to this team is step 3 on re-entering the office under the IT section is to disable the VPN.
I don't have rights for that. I bring this package back to the group.
Mm-hmm.
As he's doing that, I would like to roll for charisma to see if I can convince the deranged sales manager that there's an ISP problem, and we're working with the ISP team to resolve it, to get everyone in the company back up and running as effectively as possible.
All right. Give it a roll.
Nat 20.
Did you? Wow. Importantly, did you bring salt with you?
Not at all. I am not paying attention to the spookiness. It's just, I don't know what's going. I'm just assuming.
Step 5, guys. Step 5.
All right. So you address, we'll say Brad, the sales manager. You get his attention. He locks eyes with you. He looks enraged, wild-eyed. In fact, could just be the lighting, but his eyes almost look like they're glowing red. Cool. And as he puts 100% of his focus onto you, You then stammer out that you think there's an ISP problem, to which he starts laughing maniacally and screaming, "We're all doomed." Brad reaches out and gently touches you on the shoulder, and he whispers, and only you hear this. He whispers, "I'll swallow your soul."
Yeah.
You feel a tingle go through your body.
I would like to rebuttal and be like, no, I'm good.
Brad's already wandered off with incredibly bizarre body movements that, if you didn't know any better, you would think would be maybe like two demons wearing a skin suit. It's weird. It is inhuman. What are the rest of you doing?
Can I try to disable the VPN?
I've given the packets back to Tom. What are you doing, Tom?
I want to try and disable the VPN. Well,
Yeah, sure, no problem. You can do that right from the tray icon. You
Yeah,
don't need to roll
click
for
on
that.
it, exit.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm gonna
you
say
do that.
if I'm gonna say you guys left in the room when somebody calls in, tell them to walk them through disabling their VPN. I'm gonna go out in the hallway and look for disturbed salt circles. Step 5.
All right.
I'm taking like 3 boxes of salt with me, and I'm doing the IT waddle while you guys handle all the phones.
Let's start with the VPN. So, Tom, yes, you are easily able to do that. And through very simple inference, you realize that all of your laptops, that's something, an end user permission to enable or disable the VPN. In so doing, it does appear that the network is more functional. I mean, things are somewhat loading. Resources appear to be loading. And Kyle, if you're going to go around, how do you communicate to Kyle that he's going to tell
Well,
people?
I'm going to head back. Like I'm headed, like I have solved what I could and talked to management. So now I'm going to head back to the office.
That's going to take you a while. You're starting to feel delirious. You're having trouble seeing. The hallways are starting to stretch out in front of you. You're experiencing an extreme sense of vertigo, and you have no idea how to get back. I mean, you might as well be in a haunted back rooms at this point. So that'll be a while. Adam, you said you wanted to go exploring.
I saw in step 5 that there was do not disturb the demonic circles. So I'm going to start making my way towards where I thought Kyle went. I might not be able to make it there, but I'm going to start looking like by the printer for disturbed salt circles, by these different places that people have come running from, and see if there's any salt circles that have been disturbed that I need to repair.
Okay. So why don't you roll for that? And while he's doing that, Ian, Tom, you've sort of figured out that It seems like the VPN lets you at least do something. Anything you want to do with that?
Yet, so there's an old phone system there, and any old phone system that still works is always a Nortel system. So what's the command I can type just to send a message to all to tell everyone to disconnect their VPN? There's always a PA attached to those. Is it like load 18 or something? My Nortel commands are a bit rusty.
All right. So Tom, you roll for that. So Adam, you rolled a 5. So as you wander out, you get lost immediately. You can't figure out where Kyle went. You do see, however, that is just good enough. And given the fact you mentioned earlier that you had better than average night vision, you do see down another hallway the faint glow of what you think might be another MFP.
All right, I go in ahead for it.
Did Tom roll yet? What did Tom roll?
So there we go. Hold on. Oh, we put 2 of them.
Advantage? Oh, come on.
Perfect. I love. Well, he said he was an old Nortel guy. So by some miracle, you happen to remember a page all code that you can use on the phones. So that does work, and you can deliver whatever message you want to deliver.
I just started
your
yelling
ears
into
to hear
the
it.
thing. Disable the VPN. Right click on the little icon in the tray.
All right. So Tom makes that announcement. It works flawlessly. Not necessarily every office or phone is still connected to the old system, but enough of them are where the bulk of the users hear that message and pass that information amongst themselves. And so all 300 of the users that are within audible range are able, after a period of time, to get in and disable their VPN. And a lot of folks are now able to connect to some internal resources, but there's still entire offices or random blocks of people in an office that appear to just have intermittent or no LAN activity whatsoever. For Adam, you stumble towards that faint glow down the hall, and it is yet another MFP, and it does have a broken salt circle around it. So that was smart, and it is spitting out all sorts of just blank paper, and it's rattling and shaking, and it's
not using
haunted,
toner.
haunted AF.
So I'm going to go ahead and complete the circle with the salt. I'm going to patch it.
All right, you want to roll for that?
What kind of system can we get to auto patch our salt circles?
Get one of those line jars from like the football fields.
Salt
That's
stack.
good enough. You
Salt stack.
Oh yeah.
Salt stack. I mean,
you spill quite a bit of your salt.
I got your joke.
someone understood what it was.
It's a little dark, so you spill about half your container of salt, but you manage to complete the circle. After a few moments, the printer stops spewing out paper entirely and appears to return to its normal functionality, displaying the factory menu. And as you do that, you very faintly hear a little bit further down the hall the sign of another crazy MFP that is just clearly running some sort of job over and over and over again.
So I'm going to run back to the room with all the guys, and I'm say, hey, look, we got to look for these possessed printers, and we got to complete the circle. I'll give them the instructions on what we need to do, and we need to go forth and conquer.
I don't want to be too mean, but I have a question. Did you happen to use salt to make a trail to get back? Because you did get kind of lost.
I'm wandering my way back, I guess.
Yes.
Well, why don't you roll and see if you did?
Come on, baby. Advantage.
Advantage.
That's rough, man.
You are multiple boxes of salt though, so if I find more, I can fix them.
You are gonna find.
I will say this:
you will find your way back. It's just gonna take you a little while.
On my way back, I realize I'm lost, right? So if I see a phone, I'm going to try to call the help desk area.
You hear the page,
people.
if you'd like. You can hear the page from Tom.
No, I want to be able to call back to them. Like, I have no idea what room I'm in, but I can see there's a phone over there. Hey, Tom, the fix for a lot of this is to complete the salt circle, step 5 on the packet I gave you. Can you help?
Well, we'll assume you knew the extension of the number on the ancient PBX to do that. We'll let you have that.
The users do.
Well, the users
do.
don't, because none of them have had to use that phone system in years. And remember, that VoIP system, it was powering on, but it wasn't provisioning. And we do still have weird just blocks of the network that just appear to either be offline or they'll come on and come off immediately.
I'm guessing there's demonic circles next to each one of these that have been disturbed by janitors.
That's a possibility.
Didn't get their packet.
You could go try to find facilities.
I can't find my own people right now, let alone facilities.
And by the way, while this is happening, I think the phone is ringing more in the makeshift help desk office.
Yeah, and
but I did make it back to the group, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you make it back, but as time has gone on, like things have continued to deteriorate. It sounds like, and you see people kind of like building. They go by with a bunch of like materials. It looks like they're maybe trying to build barricades or something. Like things are definitely
you're worrying a little bit about Kyle, which just in the interest of time. If you did have a camera, you would see Kyle has gone totally Lord of the Flies in the department he is in. He's got, Rambo bandana around his head. He's fully kitted up with weaponry.
I'd like to point out that my weaponry is all IT based.
That's fine. You have mouse maces
and a red stapler.
Yeah. So Kyle is effectively useless to you guys right now, unless you're able to overcome whatever's
Cat 9 flail. So yeah, we this is what always happens with D&D, right? You end up having to things that you think were going to be a one shot. Anyway, I think we have to speed things up a little bit here, and I think let's just say like you guys have reunited. Like Adam, you've relayed that information, and you've gone and searched for these printers, and you notice as you do this and you're completing the salt circles, it's kind of leading you in a direction. To a part of the office that no one else is, super creepy, even more creepy than where you are, flickering lights, all that sort of stuff. and you see it takes you to a locked door where someone has scrawled. It looks like it used to say network, and now it says threat work.
Threat work.
A couple of the things that you notice, it smells vaguely like sulfur when you get near the door. And you see everything that a cabling project would be using as though it were just dropped there and everybody had to leave in a hurry. Ceiling tiles are disturbed. There's a couple 8-foot ladders. You see spools of Cat 6, all the gear that you would expect as though a cabling project was interrupted in the middle.
I push Ian towards the door and I say, "You open it." And I hold my box of salt open.
Did you just like salt line in front of the door and then we'll reach over and open it? Then at the worst, I lose an arm.
Okay, I'll put a salt line in front of the door.
Okay. So put a salt line in front of the door. No problem with that. And then who is going to try to open the door?
I'll open the door.
I'm so sorry, Ian.
I
So
stand back.
you don't need to even roll for this. You reach out with your hand to open the door, trembling. As your hand approaches, your palm sweaty, that door handle, the latch, you're shaking, you're worried. You look back helplessly at your teammates because this could be your final moment on this plane of existence. Your hands touch the knob. You feel a moment of an electric tingle, and you realize it's just simply locked.
So we have ladders. There's a drop ceiling.
I know where this goes. This never ends well.
So
no.
just in the interest of time, this was absolutely one of the planned scenarios. So hell yeah. So why don't you roll to make sure that what you're planning to do, you don't die doing it.
I like that idea. Oh. The locked door didn't get me, but the ladder's gonna.
So you
Ceiling tiles
attempt
are
to
gonna go
grab
flying.
one of the 8-foot ladders to bring it over so that you can climb up through the ceiling tiles and over the side of the wall, which is very smart. But you just trip while you go into the ladder, and the ladder collapses around you, and you're extremely embarrassed, but otherwise unhurt.
Okay.
Only your pride destroyed.
Nothing new.
Anybody else want to try?
I'm really tall.
Tom, you know your way around
so I'm
these
going to climb
things.
up on the ladder and just peek over and see if I can't see through to the other side.
You can't quite see through because there are ceiling tiles on the other side, but it does confirm Ian's theory that the drop ceiling carries through, and that would be a viable method to get into the room.
I guess.
And it smells more strongly of sulfur up there, and it's a little warm.
I guess if Ian can't try again, hey Tom, you want to try this? It looks great up here.
Yeah, I would actually try just grabbing a coat hanger and pulling on the door thing because you can always pull them up and unlock them. Yeah.
All right, you want to roll for that?
Yeah,
I've got long arms. I can if you give me a coat hanger, I can bend that around. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
All right. So thankfully, whoever the idiot was that set up the physical security on the server room has a lever style handle on both sides, which is just the dumbest thing in the world. So Tom's trick works, and you are able to pop the lock. Would you like to open the door?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. So you step forward over the ring of salt. You open the door very slowly as all 4 of you apprehensively cluster together, and you are presented with what looks like a server room with a giant pit to what could only be described as hellfire in the middle there. You notice that there are a number of network racks. About half of them look like they have brand new Unify switches in various stages of being racked and hooked up. And the other half look like they have whatever legacy equipment was in there previously. But other than the giant hole in the floor, which has a bunch of network cables running into it, nothing really looks out of place or tragically bad. It literally just looks like somebody was mid-racking new equipment and had to stop.
So would
you like to investigate to see if there's anything else of use to you in the room?
Yeah, let's investigate.
All right, someone roll for that.
I'm standing back and watching them from outside the door, just so you guys know.
And whoever in the audience is asking, has the aircon gone bust? The air conditioning and the sprinkler system were not installed yet. So there you go.
I form a salt circle around me and watch them from outside the room.
You're very smart.
I'm conquering the sales department one person at a time.
What do we get for a roll here?
That was a 6.
All right. That is enough for you to see two things. You notice that there's a bunch of tools and equipment that the networking team was probably using. You have no idea what any of it does. It looks like all sorts of fancy gadgets. And then in the far side of the room, on the other side of the portal of hell, you notice what looks like some sort of like console or, like a pull-out KVM. So once again, you don't actually know what that is, but you do see that they're there. And you could tell your teammates that you've seen those piles.
I will call that out to the team. You also said that there were network cables going into the pit.
Yeah, there sure are.
Can I cut those? I assume that there's wire cutters in this room since tools have been left behind.
Well, can you and should you are interesting questions to ask in this sort of scenario. But as you are not able to identify the tools from your terrible, terrible roll, this is you really are entry level. You don't know if they're cuttable. If someone else wants to go investigate the tools and see if there's cutters there, that's certainly an option. No one.
I'm in my salt circle, guys. I think Tom's the only one left alive here.
Oh my god,
That's scary.
we should sacrifice Adam.
I thought we sacrificed Kyle.
We
Kyle's
sacrificed him to sales.
Kyle's
gone.
already the commander in chief of the sales floor.
Just to add some urgency, you hear what sounds like Kyle screaming, and you notice from the far end of the hallway that Kyle is approaching, leading a demonically possessed army of department managers towards you.
In that case, I walk into the
hold
server
on.
room and I close the door behind me.
Before he does that, am I demonically possessed, or have I just taken, just like surmise the situation and decided?
Demonically influenced.
Okay,
You've
I'll take
chosen
that.
your
Okay.
side. You see where
Yes.
you saw.
Yes. Kyle has chosen the users.
Yeah.
So time's ticking here. Like, you're literally caught between a fiery pit and a marching army of demonically possessed middle management.
I would
what
like
do you
to
wanna
take
do?
my mouse thing and fling it at the salt circle guy.
You can roll for it.
Yeah,
yeah.
roll for it.
I want to initiate combat.
I dodge.
The mouse.
I dodge.
So, unfortunately, Kyle, the mouse you were using was a old-fashioned, super heavyweight trackball mouse, and you're not that strong. So while you are able to launch it forward, it just kind of drops lamely about 3 feet in front of you. It doesn't even come anywhere even near the room they're in.
I ignore the fact that it was only 3 feet.
Anyone want to do anything in the server room? We had that console we saw on the other side.
I'm going to point out the console.
I'm shutting the door. I'm going inside and shutting the door. I'm barricading the door.
Did you lift the door off the hinges?
The door's been open. I've just been watching in from there.
Yeah, that works just fine. No problem. Door's closed.
It's locked.
Yep.
So
yeah, door's locked. You start hearing sort of a soft, feeble pounding on the door that's growing louder. But for now, the door appears
me.
to
I'm knocking.
I taunt Kyle.
I complain about the iodine quantities of his salt in a taunting manner.
It's sea salt. There is
Well,
no iodine.
Just on that note, Kyle's able to pound on the door softly, but the managers all seem to be hissing and recoiling at the salt circle that was placed outside the door.
Have we investigated? I'm going to go ahead and help investigate the tools of the room.
All right, why don't you roll for that?
Any documentation, any tools, whatever I can find.
I think you got a 6.
So, not great. You are able to confirm that it is absolutely what looks to be like network installation tools. You don't have the wherewithal to know what is what. There are a bunch of fancy ones that have little screens. Some of those are yellow and blue. And then on the other side of the room, you are able to confirm that is absolutely some sort of pull-out screen. You don't know what it's for or what it's doing, but it sure does look fancy and admin-y.
I laugh on the other side of the door knowing he failed.
And Kyle's maniacal laughter intimidates all of you.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I go check the fancy screen for something familiar.
You check the fancy screen for something familiar. So why don't you roll for that?
Evidently, I'm not cut out for this.
Since I am now
All
on
right,
the opposite
so
team.
You don't know what it means, but you are able to at least decipher the words and read them out loud. It appears to be logged on to an administrative console for the core switch, and it appears to be on the spanning tree page. And you don't know what any of those words mean. You don't know what to do next, but you can read the English. So you read that out to the room.
Ian or Tom?
I would like to
Network loop.
I want to try to move the salt circle that are preventing the sales managers, because I'm on the other team now. So
I'll let you guys know, and this sucks. Kyle, it takes him a minute because he's a pretty low-level employee, but Kyle is slowly able to reduce the salt circle down. So any minute now, those managers are going to burst through that door fully demonically possessed.
And Ian, you said so you
Check for the
I want to check and see. It says spanning tree. Does it say spanning tree is enabled, disabled? Like, I feel like we're in a network loop kind of situation.
That's a great question. I won't make you roll for that. So that's just a radio box. You rolled poorly before, so you still don't know what it means, but you are able to see that it is disabled.
Screw it. I'm turning it off and on. I look for a power switch.
Oh, just hit the enabled button first.
Yeah.
We
Hit
can
the
reboot
enable
it
button.
after.
What enable button? Is there an enable button there?
Yeah, you said the
point
radio
at it.
button.
Yeah, the radio button
Don't
for
forget to save
enable
your
for
configuration.
spanning tree.
Okay, you want to hit that?
Yep.
Okay, so you hit that button and the screen pops up. And remember, if Ian's doing this, Ian has no idea what he's doing. Screen pops up and asks if he wants to save the running configuration. Yes or no?
The running configuration.
does it list? Well, I'm on the enemy team. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna.
So do you want to save that? Do you want to move forward with that? Does somebody?
Well, we clicked enable. Did things start working again? We need to verify if it's working before we save the running config.
The config's not going to propagate to the core switch until you hit save.
Yeah.
You people.
Modern technology. It's a failsafe.
Did we want to investigate anything else in the room? There was a pile of tools with yellow and blue fancy gadgets over there. Or are we good with hitting that button?
Just hit the button, man.
Hit the
At this
button.
point,
All right, roll for
minutes.
We're hitting the button.
The bomb's about to go off. We're about to be overrun by sales managers.
Copy, run, start. Let's go.
All right, roll for that. Let's make sure you hit it properly. Everything works exactly the way you're expecting. Let's see.
Yeah,
There it is.
nice.
All right, so you save the running configuration, which enables spanning tree, and all of a sudden you feel a deep rumble. The whole building shakes. The lights suddenly turn on. You hear the sci-fi whir of all of the equipment coming back online. The VoIP phones start provisioning. Everything seems to be working. And in that moment with the bright lights, you look over and you happen to notice there's a cable plugged into one of the old switches that's still alive. That's a different color, and it's plugged back into itself. It's a gosh darn loop back that was in that one switch. As you celebrate because you have solved all of the downtime issues at this company for all 300 users, something terrible happens. That door bursts open. The possessed managers, who are still possessed, break into the room, still quite possessed. And you notice that all the rest of the IT staff that disappeared, who are also just the most possessed, start crawling out of that pit that was in the middle of the room using the Ethernet cables pulling out, because it looks like whatever you did, you knocked them offline. They're not happy. The rest of you look around you. You grab whatever you can as weapons to get ready and fade to Left 4 Dead.
I was about to say, I scream. I picked the right team. Corporate
Oh man,
politics.
great.
I climb over Tom and use him as a ladder to get back up to the drop ceiling.
You guys, technically, that's all we did. So you guys figured it out. The idea behind this scenario was in an unplanned situation like this with limited documentation and tools available, which many help desk people have. The technical problems here were really simple. It was just a freaking cord plugged back into itself, just a loop back, and folks that didn't read the documentation and were still connected to the VPN. So from a technical severity case, very simple things to solve. It's really more about how do you manage the users, how do you manage the frustrations and the anger, and how do you figure that out as just help desk techs that don't have access to all that?
Well, and if you don't copy the running config to the startup config, there's going to be a power outage that brings this whole system back down.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Tom, because if you remember, the demons, as we faded to black, the demons were coming out to get all of you. So is there
Not all of us. Let's be clear.
Well, guys, thank you for taking the time going for this. You solved the technical puzzle, whether you survived or not. I don't know, we'll see. Kyle probably. But
Keep your salt.
well
Adam.
done.
Hey, I saved some printers.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. You saved some printers. You saved property, which is what's really counts. All right. So thank you guys so much. Thank you everybody we went way over. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I want to zoom through this real quick. We have a winner to announce, and so I'm going to share that with you guys. It was Berto 007 from Spiceworks. He's a Thai pepper, by the way, Adam. Zombies like users clicking on anything. Zombie-like users clicking on anything. Congratulations, you've won the Lego Ecto 1. All the other finalists are going to be sending you the weighted blanket so you can curl up with that after this terrifying tale. And also that awesome IT Horror Fest special mug from the Lawrence Systems store, which you can also order. And with that, I want to leave you with two other things. Really quickly, we have some resources. One of these is one that we shared last year. A lot of folks mentioned failed backups, right? So we have a tome of backup best practices. Go check this out. Our design team had a lot of fun putting that together. You'll get some cool backup advice on how to run and make sure that you don't end up in a horror story like that. Also, Madison, I'm sorry you didn't win this time, but you got to spend time with us, so aren't we all winners? And then we also have the Warlock's Guide to Selling Security. This could be for MSPs or for internal IT folks who need to sell leadership on the idea of why security is important. So those are two guides I want to give you. We're going to reply with an email with links to how you can follow all our guests here, get more information from them. They're super active in the community. They got great stuff going on. And we'll also have the recording. So if you have team members you thought would enjoy this, you can share that with them. And like we mentioned before, we're going to be doing more backups and bandwidth. We want to get your stories. We want to get you to come on and play this game with us in more devilish scenarios. So let us know. Respond to the email when it goes out. Let us know if you want to be involved. We would love to have you. And everybody, happy Halloween. Thank you so much for taking time and joining us.
Thank you for having us on.
Thanks, everybody.
Survived.
Until next time. And Dean, well done.
We only lost
Mr.
one.
DM.
I mean, that's pretty good, right?